Welcome back. You're watching FaceTime. On today's FaceTime, I'll be talking about the e-learning landscape education in Malaysia. It seems like it's something new, but we have a new product here, which is LearningPod. Joining me today is the founder and chairman of LearningPod. Welcome to the show, Dr. Idris.
Okay, thank you.
Well,
My pleasure.
Dr., can you share a bit more about your background? In 1991, you started Cosmo Point, but now you're doing LearningPod. What's your passion within education?
Okay. No, my background basically, I have a master's in computer information technology, basically, but my background is IT. I mean, after graduation, I worked for a couple of years in IT line before I ventured into setting up my own private college, training center college. You know, I started Cosmo Point group of colleges in 1991. And then KLMU University College along the way, and so basically my passion has always been in education, and that was in higher education, you know. And in 2012, basically I exited my business with Cosmo Point Group when Equinas Group bought over my company. So now again, as I mentioned to you, the passion in education is still very strong in me. I'm now in this pre-tertiary education, primary and secondary school education, another area that's very exciting.
Well, not only is it different in terms of looking at primary and secondary education, this is a new way of learning, e-learning. Can you share a bit more about the concept behind LearningPod?
Okay. Well, what we see today, you know, I mean, from my 20 years of running higher education, running college, university colleges across the country, you know, and I realize actually a lot of people blame the quality of the students, the performance of the students at the university level. But if we study, clearly, university are not the problems. The problems are at the school level, where the foundations are very weak, you know. The students' foundations are very weak at the school level in the area of maybe science, mathematics, and language, English. So when they get into university, when they are 18 years old, 19 years old, they get into the university with a very weak foundation. So and you only spend 3 years, 4 years in the university. There's not much a university can do to basically bring you to the level that what the industry or the business out there really require out of the students, you know. So I think it's important now for us to focus in how do we bring up the level of education at the primary and secondary school level. But what a lot of people don't realize today, you know, that the children today are very different from my time, and your time, you know, is different because the kids today, you know, are very IT savvy. They have a smartphone, they have tablets, they have all the apps they are familiar with, even when they are as young as 1 or 2 years old.
That's true.
Right?
Yeah.
So, but we look back, the education system at the primary and secondary school education, if I walk back to my school, and the methods of teaching, the classroom styles are still the same. You know, but the children today have changed so much. They are no longer the same as we are. You know, at the intellect level, into of their, what they are exposed to, they're very different, you know, than us. But the system in the classroom is the same. So that's why children today are losing interest in school. And you see this especially among the boys. The boys are dropping out from the system in high numbers. I mean, the enrollment of boys in university has dropped to like 30%. Female are dominating university, up to 70%. So these are serious problem. So a lot of people don't understand this, what is going on, and this is why LearningPod has been set up basically to address this specific problem and provide the solutions to the people out there.
But then again, when we talk about technology advancement, it seems like it's the cause of distraction to most of the students when they don't perform well. How does LearningPod actually leverage on technology advancement to the benefits of the students?
Okay, so again, a lot of people, producing what they call it self-learned materials, video-based learning, and so many what we call it under the category of e-learning. What differs us from all the product out there, that our product developed to basically attract the attentions of the students. We use a lot of animations, graphics to reflect the actual, things that they learn, to simplify the methods of learning. So people remember better when they see things, in 2D, in 3D dimension, in graphical presentation compared to text presentation. So the other part is that we introduce in our design, the interface of our contents are all very colorful, state-of-the-art, latest contemporary color are being used, and the most important, our contents are highly interactive. It's not just a one-way learning, like you're watching a video, you just look at the video, 30 minutes, you have to glue to your chair and watch diligently for the 30 minutes. But our contents here, you are being engaged, like you're playing game, So you will not just realize that you are going through 30 minutes, 45 minutes. It's so exciting. You're being asked to simulate lab experiments. You're being posed questions. You have to drag things. You are playing while learning. Actually, that's a concept. And because of that, we have invested a lot of money in developing. We have a big manpower building this kind of content. So what differs us here is the quality of the content is very, relevant to what the students out there, they are used to games, etc. So there's an element of gaming and content, together, apart from, of course, all the exercises that you'll be exposed to. So this differs our product from whatever is out there. We are the only one doing this in this way.
But looking at your product, it seems to be very interactive, which is very different from how the Malaysian education system works. How do you actually bridge the gap between parents' expectations of education being something more repetitive and tuition-based, where the teacher actually spoon-feeds the students about what needs to be learned for the examinations?
So the problem today with our students, especially, those are sitting for exams, final exam, all that, is very focused in getting an A's. So it's basically just, like we saw recently, the UPSR paper leak issues, right?
That's true.
That shows people are so obsessed and with just passing a test, not about acquiring and understanding the knowledge, So I think the move we should be, I think the priority for parents basically to ensure their children really acquire the knowledge that are required in whatever field they are learning. Exam comes second. Once you acquire the knowledge and understanding, you should be able to do well in the exam. But if you focus in just the exam, this is where the focus in trying to get, the questions, forecast the right question, memorizing the answer. So it's basically it's not the right way. You are just focusing on very limited area of your study, in whichever you think that will come up for the exam, and you do a lot of memorization and just focus. So your knowledge is very limited. When you get into university, you come with a very shallow knowledge, even though you may get an A. But your A is very shallow. It's just focused on what the boundary of the questions that came out. This is what we don't want it to. We want to change that. So what we want is that people they love to learn, acquire the knowledge, and then that's where the final part in attempting to answer the questions will be the final attempt. So when they understand, they love the content, answering the question, getting an A is not an issue. So in this case, a person who gets an A by understanding the concepts, the knowledge is a better A student than a person who just memorize the questions and answer, and that's it. So this is what we are trying to produce, making learning fun, making people want to learn more, and this is one way. And again, we are making the students to think a lot. In our contents, where there's we incorporating these higher order thinking skills. So sometimes you are posed with certain question where there is no right and wrong answer. So you are being challenged to think and answer. In different perspective. So this is what we are doing basically. It's basically as what our tagline says, learning revolutionized. So we are doing that actually.
But cultivating a thinking way of lifestyle of learning is something very unique. How do you actually deliver this through Learning Pod?
Okay, this is what the focus of the content, each of the module that we build. We go through a very detailed process of building the content. You know, I mean, starting from basically coming up with the contents outline, and then we have the expert doing the outline. Then we produce a storyboard. So when at the point of producing a storyboard, this is where a lot of ideas, a lot of creative elements comes into the storyboard line. And of course, the final part is the production of the actual content into a live product. So we make sure all this creative aspect and all this thing about making the student think, all incorporated in direct way. You know, they're being asked to solve a problem, for example, or they're being challenged to do a game at the end of the content. But this is all without realizing they have to think of doing that.
Thinking outside the box.
Yes.
Practically.
Yeah. That's what we are doing actually. It's very exciting actually.
Well, you've recently launched Learning Pod to the general Malaysian public for Form 4 and Form 5 students sitting for SPMs.
Yeah.
Can you share a bit more about some of the feedback that we've received so far from the students who've been using it?
This week we have decided, in view of SPMs coming up in November, so we have decided to open up our subscription to our content free for all the 1 million students out there, SPM students. They could they can just log into our website www.learningpod.com.my, and they could just sign up for our content. And at the same time, we realize that some students may not be able to manage their time well on their own. This is where we are building centers, Learning Pod Center across the country. We have got 6 centers up and running at the moment, where the student could just drop by at any of the center. The operator at the center will just plan your time, how many times a week you come to the center, how many hours each sessions will plan for you. So you come in and log into our system. You're being managed by a couple of coaches at the center that basically takes the role of a teacher that guide and you in using our system. And so basically this is what we are doing at the moment. And the feedback so far from those that have gone through our content, we've got feedback. People are saying that, you know, this is a 5-star product. You know, recently, even yesterday, there's one student who was sitting for O-level. They said, this is really a 5-star product. I don't really realize, you know, that I've spent 2 hours sitting in front of the computer going through the content. It's just like playing games, you know. It's very exciting and fun, actually.
Well, there's the part where the students are actually learning. But one concern in a lot of parents' minds are actually, how do they track their children's performance by using this product?
Okay. In our systems, when a student sign up, we require them to put up a particular of their parents' email, SMS, all that. So basically, we have what we call it an e-report card, where parents will be notified on a monthly basis, how many the attendance of their child, the attempts, the score, the performance of what they have done on particular area of studies. We show patterns, whether when they come in, they are at this level, and today they are which level. So the parents will be updated continuously, so they could just monitor the children. And we are also at our level, we are monitoring the performance of the students. And I am very sure, actually, any student who basically go through our system will pass with flying colors, actually.
So they could actually see some improvement also.
Definitely.
Which can be tracked on an ongoing basis.
Especially tough subject like physics, chemistry, or math. Not every student like this. Very difficult. They have to memorize a lot of things. Just get into our system, you see how easy learning now with Learning Pod module.
Well, currently your product, Learning Pod, is actually for SPM students. What's the outlook for other?
Okay, when we started off, we decided to focus on SPM because we think that's the most important part of a school education system for a student. We focus so much on passing the exam because that will determine their next level, university, colleges, etc., or maybe career. So what we do is that we have got currently a workforce of about 150 people working just to develop this Form 4 and Form 5 level, SPM, IGCSE O level. And this 150 people comes from 15 nationalities who are working. Our office are just like mini United Nations. Now we hired the best people across the globe to work with us to produce this, what we call it, world-class content, right?
Yep.
So, and you know, the cost of managing 150 people, all that is very high. So we thought at the moment, let's go out and penetrate the SPM market out there. Once we get into the market, our next cycle is to go down level from 1 to Form 3 and finally Standard 1 to Standard 6, and even maybe at a later stage at a preschool area. So we want to be a one-stop solution provider from preschool education all the way to Form 5 and Form 6, maybe. Yeah? And one day we want that every student, 5.5 million to 6 million students out there in primary and secondary school will be LearningPort students.
Wow, that's an amazing market. Well, we're going to take a quick commercial break right now, but when we come back, we'll see more potentials for e-learning in Malaysia. Stay tuned with us on Capital Today.